Okay, welcome everybody. Welcome. We are live. Welcome to episode. This is the fourth live stream in the first series. It's going to be number 10 in the series. Which will be released in all the major platforms. The premiere date for the first block of season one. I'm letting you know now. It's going to be 2 p.m. on May the 4th. So that's next week. You'll be able to get the first half of season one, and that nicely brings me into our guest today. Please welcome the very lovely Lorenzo Tambruni. Lorenzo, buddy, how are you?
Hello, Jason. Hi, nice to see you. Thank you for inviting me, and I wish a good afternoon to everybody listening to us and watching to us.
You're very welcome. Very welcome, Lorenzo. It's been a while, buddy. It's been when was the last time I seen you? I think I
I
can't.
think
Was
the
it
GMAs
was it
at
the last
Regent Street
GMAs?
Cinema,
Yeah, I
which is
suppose actually.
just 4 months ago, but it looks like
It
years
feels
ago.
like so long ago. So for
Yeah.
everyone who doesn't know, Lorenzo and I know each other for a while now, and we've got to know each other through the GMAs, which is a festival that myself and my business partners run, and Lorenzo and Clara, who is his business partner, who is an absolute sweetheart. I hope is she watching or listening in today?
Is she watching? Hi, Clara.
Hey, Clara, how are you doing, darling? Come stai, darling? That's about the extent of my Italian. But Lorenzo and Clara, they both run CinemaItaliaUK, UK, which is a wonderful foundation and charity that brings wonderful Italian cinema right here to the UK. And with the insurgence, I think of the last, I mean, I've noticed myself. To answer me this, have you noticed, as an Italian person, I've noticed, and I'm not Italian, that there's been even just in the last, I'd say maybe 3 or 4 years even, the insurgence of the amount of Italian people now in London, and I can only speak for London because that's where I live, but I mean, I'm sure all over, but the amount of Italian people that's come over here in the last couple of years has been huge. I mean, apparently there's something like 6 million right here now in the UK, which is great because with that brings everything that they want and wish for. And some of that, of course, is cinema. And then you guys bring that. So you service the cinema angle of it for the Italian market. But not just that, because the Italian cinema is wonderful. And I think it's becoming much more popular here well, not just here. I was going to say here in London, but what I mean by that is in the Western world, in the English speaking Western world, should I say. I think it's becoming much more popular. And it's wonderful. I've, through yourselves and through running the Go Movie Awards and being at the Regent Street Cinema, which we'll get into in a little minute. What a wonderful venue that is. I've been privileged to see quite a lot. In fact, I remember Gada's movie El Padre, which was seen
Yes.
with Willem Dafoe was there that day and Ray Fiennes, and that was such a great film and such something I would never have expected to see. Someone of Willem's caliber in, but it was such a different role for him, and I thought it was wonderful, and I was kind of. It was like art house almost, for someone that's maybe not as well used to seeing the intricacies of Italian cinema. How I would sort of like give it a place would be sort of like film noir, maybe even art house for sure. Even it was really cool. So
Yes.
yeah, how do you find that the Italian cinema is adapting over here to the British market?
Well, I mean, I believe it's doing well. At the moment, Italian cinema is reacting very well about the changes. I mean, I'm speaking before coronavirus,
Hmm.
fortunately, but I'm seeing there are a lot of great attempts. For instance, in terms of TV series, HBO co-produced My Brilliant Friend, based on the novels by Elena Ferrante, which were a huge success here in UK and America. So we are talking about an Italian writer that, after decades, becomes to be one of the world best-selling authors. And HBO approaches Italy to produce a TV series about that, about a history set in Italy with Italian actors, so Italian. Spoken in Italian language, actually spoken in Neapolitan language, which is very different from the
Hmm.
Italian one. So, or for instance, the success of a more Italian product like Gomorrah, even in this case, based on a very popular book about criminality. and a product which is available even here on Now TV, and it is a totally Italian production. So, I mean, there is been and now, for instance, and just another case, the case of The Devils, which is a TV series featuring Patrick Dempsey from Grey's Anatomy and Alessandro Borghi, which is one of the most important Italian actors in Italy at the moment. And it's out now, and it's getting rave reviews, and it's set in the city here in London. So we have a story of British finance with Italian interactions, also told by a British team and told by an Italian team filming here. So it's a Wall Street for a new decade. So a subject that until a few years ago would have been completely in the hands of Americans or British people is now becoming developed in a story with an Italian team behind. Or for instance, now again another example, still from TV. 000 is a new TV series, still from a book by Roberto Saviano, which is going to talk about the narcos and the drug dealing markets all around the world. So yes, I mean, Italian approach is turning very looking on the outside. We are going really to bring our stories and our talents outside of our national borders. It's something that we hadn't attempted to do in quite a while.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah, I mean, I've spent quite a lot of time in Italy now over the last 6 or 8 years, as you know, I work with my business partners are Italian Marco Rocalchi and Anthony Rialone. So I go there quite often, and those guys are based in Feltre, near Belluno. You know this, up by the Dolomite. And first of all, I want to say this: I don't think I'd ever been to Italy actually before. Not sure if I have before doing 21 Files, which was the movie that I met Marco on, and it's such a beautiful country. Oh my God! Now, just like every country, you've got your problems, you've got your issues, and there's the governmental issues, and things. It's an oxymoron, Italy, for me, because it's so beautiful and it's so quaint and it's so idealistic and to an extent as well nationalistic as well. The people they're Italian loves Italian, and that's great. That's wonderful to see that you're so proud of your country, and it's such a beautiful place, and the talent there as well is immense. But then, of course, you're faced with all the governmental issues that make things difficult. As you know, and maybe so for the folks outside at Italy, they don't know this. There's so many different police forces, and it just becomes quite difficult, and the tax system and so forth is quite high, and it just becomes difficult to do stuff. But when I totally agree with you, there is so much story. There's so much diversity of story within your country. I mean, come on, it's Italy, it's Rome, it's the birthplace of Western civilization. I mean, you have everything. If you want like the gangster stuff and the mafia stuff, check. You got that all day long, twice on Sunday. You got the whole Roman thing. It's amazing. And to see so much of it coming here now and to be explored and developed, and as great as all these different platforms are, and some people say that Netflix and Hulu's and the big massive powerhouses are sometimes detrimental because they're so powerful, and that I do agree with that point to an extent. I think they're also wonderful because they have the scope, the money, and the people to be able to take chances. And because of that now, like you mentioned, the Narcos storyline is now, I didn't know this, but I guess it's going to Italy now to tell a story there. And there's so much story that if you have someone like Netflix or someone super powerful like that, then they can take a story, and if it's made impeccably well, then the people don't really mind having to read subtitles for the length of the movie or have it dubbed, because there's a number of different ways to get it out there now, and I think it's great, and I'm looking forward to seeing what's coming at us, and from the festival side of things, Marco and Anthony being Italian, and the GMAs being born in Italy, we do have we get stuff from all over the world, as you know, but we do have quite a lot of Italian submitters, and the quality of the work's immense. It's really, really, really good, like really good. And I have to say as well, I'm delighted at how supportive that Italy has been on a national scale. I mean, we now, and thank you so much. You guys have been so supportive over the years for the awards and our events and various other things. But now, once we've kind of reached a certain level, now we have like Mediaset and Rai TV, which for people who don't know, Mediaset and Rai TV are essentially the BBC and the Channel 4, the national networks of Italy. So we have those coming in person to attend our events and bring their cameras and do live feeds and so forth. So they're very, very supportive, and I couldn't thank them more. Federico as well. He's such a great friend as well, and he's your correct me if I'm wrong. He's your political correspondent. Is that right?
Yes, if I'm not yes. Let's say also that in recent times, politics has gather all the attention of from the Italian news. So let's say that even if you are not a political correspondent, you end up becoming it.
Mm. But before we get into the films too much and the movies and so on, I can't not ask. I mean, because we're going through Corona now, obviously, and everyone's affected by it. But I think Italy got hit particularly bad. And from all the reports that I've seen via the media, and from everything I've heard from my Italian friends and Marco and Anthony, and the reports and calls and so on that I've been having with those guys, it seems it's bad. It's very bad.
It's
Like,
very
whereabouts in Italy do you come from, Lorenzo? Are you from the
I
north?
come from Tuscany, so luckily I come from an area which, even being very close to the so-called initial red zone, which is Lombardy, our situation has been quite good. I mean, I was very concerned. I have my family there, but luckily I have to say that the situation in Tuscany has been managed quite well. So, for instance, in my town, which is even quite big, the rate of contagion has been very low. Even the local hospital has been able at some point even just to welcome patients from other areas because there wasn't a great emergency in terms of inhabitants.
Hmm.
And I read that just a few days ago, they just closed one of the area dedicated to coronavirus. So it means that the situation is slowly coming back to normality. A huge question mark is on May 4th, which will be the day in which, in theory, Italy starts to relax a bit the various parts of the lockdown,
Hmm.
and I keep my fingers crossed that maybe people which are come from 2 months of lockdown won't be tempted to overrule a bit and bring all the efforts that we've made until now back to square one.
I hope
My fingers
not.
crossed.
I hope not. I'm
No.
just to let people know that we are going out live on, well, everywhere really. But we are currently live on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitch, Twitter, and Instagram. So if you want to get your questions in, please do so. Pop them into the chat areas of the respective feeds, wherever it is you're watching in from, and I will certainly do my best to get them over to Lorenzo. But yeah, no, things are particularly bad over there, and I'm delighted to hear now that I think as a globally we're starting to get over the hump, to get over that curve or whatever you want to call it, and we're now, I would hope, on the we're on a the trajectory of light at the end of the tunnel, so to speak. So hopefully we'll be in the next 2, 3, or hopefully no more than that, 4 maybe weeks. Our various governments will start to relax these the imposements put upon us, and start to allow us, or at least start to begin the exit strategies. Because I know here in the UK at least, are you here right now? Or are you back home?
Oh yes, yeah. No, no, no. I'm here. I
Oh, you're
never
here now, yeah.
left, basically.
Yeah, same. I mean, in fact, I kind of left it a bit too long, to the point where when I was like, "Do you know what?" Because everyone else did. Everyone else that I live with here in my apartment, they all, which were all Italians, by the way, all headed back to Italy. So yeah, I mean, I left it too long. I wasn't able to get a flight back home when I decided that I wanted to go, but say la vie. But yeah, no, it's been particularly bad, but yeah, I'm glad to hear it's coming around. So tell us about Cinema Italia UK first before we get into the films and how that came to be and what it is that you guys do. And for anyone out there who's watching or listening, what it is that Cinema Italia, what service you provide, and if someone wants to get in contact or to work with you or collaborate in some way, how might they reach out?
Okay, well, CinemaItaliaUK UK was founded in 2014 by Clara Caleo Green, who is a pillar of the Italian community here in the UK. She has been here since the 60s, and she has always had a huge love for cinema, trying to bring the best of Italian culture here. So this was her last project, and we met by chance in 2005, 2015. I was just arrived in London, and I had the opportunity to know Cinema Italia UK and this great volunteering reality, because we really do it just for passion, and we are a group of people that has changed during the time. Now we made a great effort to become a charity, and thanks to some very great collaborators who worked a lot to get this amazing result. And being a charity now allows us to be a bit more present and with a different authority on the market.
Mm-hmm.
And so we basically have our monthly screening now at Regent Street Cinema, which is one of the most beautiful venues in London, if I may say. So full of history, actually. It's
Oh,
the
absolutely.
oldest cinema still existing in Europe.
Mm.
They started with Brothers Lumiere, and I can tell you that every director, actor coming visiting us, the moment they enter into the venue, like they're shocked
It's
because
absolutely beautiful. Let me
it's
just
absolutely,
I'm gonna pop a picture
and
up
I'm
on the screen.
really keeping my fingers crossed for them, because I know that now they are closed, and like every one of us, we are facing this very tough time. And so gradually, Cinema Italia UK grew inside the Italian community. We had the support of precious help like the Italian bookshop, which is another pillar of our cultural institute. We had the support. We are having also the support of the Italian Institute of Culture, to which we send our greatest regards. And yes, it's we are small, we are independent, but we managed to create something great for the community. And also, what I'm really happy is that our audience is coming out from the Italian community now, is expanding a lot through people living in London who love Italian cinema or love Italian culture and want to know a bit more, or just they are curious to explore, because really Italian cinema has a lot to do. Sometimes the general prejudice, let's say, I mean, just saying, so Italian cinema, so you have Fellini, you have Pasolini, you have La Vita è Bella, you have just now Paolo Sorrentino was the last Italian director to have won an Academy Award. But there is so much really behind this, and some stories, way to tell them, directors, actors, and which is really an entire world that we are proud to bring. Sometimes we also brought all the movies that really fascinated our audience by the way they tell stories. And it's a movie that I'm just thinking about. But in 1997, there was this Italian movie. It's called The Nirvana, which is basically a sort of foreseeing of the Matrix, because it's about this programmer played by French actor Christopher Lambert. One was Highlander,
Hmm.
and is basically he creates this video game, and this video game gets his own personality, and so basically enters in the world of the video game. And it's an incredible story, filmed in Milan, really trying to create this futuristic atmosphere, this dystopian future. And it has some themes that then you can find 3 years later in the Matrix. And it's surprising, and it's a very brave movie to have decided to create such a different world in time when nobody was thinking so much about, let's say, the world of internet or video games, and we had just a few uh, strange attempts like it was the Super Mario Bros. Movies
Mm.
or Johnny Mnemonic with Ken Reeves. So it was they sort of started a path that then the Matrix made a bit more um, manageable for the cinema to come. So we have yes, I mean Italian cinema is there is so much to explore, and I'm happy that so many people are coming now to see it, to discover the movies.
Hmm.
And also, we always try to have at least the director as our guest to present the movies so we can have a conversation. And it's great to see how many people are coming, making questions, creating this sort of convivial atmosphere. Also, because after the movie and the Q&A, we also have some arancini by Etna Coffee, one of our sponsors, and the wine by the Italian consulate. So thank you to both for the amazing support during the years.
Hmm.
And so that you have also a chance to stay there, to meet new people. It's a great opportunity of networking, and you
Hmm.
can interact privately with the director and the actors, or meet new people, meet new.
Absolutely.
It's incredible, really. It's a great opportunity, and the atmosphere of Regent Street Cinema helps a lot with that, if I
Yeah,
may say.
I've been to, I can't even remember now. I've been to a number of your events, and anyone who might be thinking, I'm not going to go to one of those because I'm not Italian. Well, that's irrelevant. The guys bring over, as I mentioned before, Willem Dafoe and Ray Fiennes were two guests at Gada's screening, and of course that was your event, and yourself and Clara put that together, and it's the most wonderful thing because you get to see films for the most part that you probably have never heard of, but they're wonderful. And then you get to meet these amazing actors, directors, producers, and everything else. Sometimes, a lot of the times, there'll be someone of merit, someone you recognize, someone that's maybe potentially quite famous there. And there's always a lovely atmosphere because, as I said, well, let's just pop up a picture of the RSC on the screen because it really is particularly awesome, this place. For anyone who doesn't know, this is the Regent Street Cinema, which is where Lorenzo and Clara hold, as I say, their monthly event. It is at the building at the University of Westminster, just hop and a skip from the BBC building on Regent Street. It is, as Lorenzo said, the second oldest. I think it is actually the oldest remaining now, by the way,
No, no, it's the oldest. Yeah, yes.
because the
The
oldest,
1896.
yeah, the oldest cinema in the world ever was in 1895 in Paris, France, but that was destroyed during one of the subsequent wars that happened between then and now. So, although it's not the oldest cinema ever to be created, it's the oldest one currently remaining on the planet. So it is absolutely amazing. And about, what was it, Lorenzo, 5 or 6 years ago, they completely refurbished the place to turn it into what you see on the screen right now because it was different. It was like modern and glass and whatever. And now it's completely different and it's so authentic. You go in there, and I know you can't see it from the picture right now, but on the stage, there's a massive organ which they play. They have this organist, or I think, is that right? Have I just made up a word? Is organist? Is that a word? I don't know. I'm coining it if
Yes,
it's not.
yes, yes, yes.
Anyway, some guy comes in to play the organ to accompany silent movies. I think they do that like once a month, and it's
Yes, yes,
incredible. The
really.
sound in that building is immense. It's amazing. I would highly recommend you go check it out. And that's the thing as well. It's not like a private theater where it's only in events. No. It's a operational cinema. You can roll up to it like you can. Well, I won't say their names because I'm not giving a plug, but any of the other cinemas, you can roll up and pop in and see the latest Star Wars or whatever. So yeah, it's really cool, and all the guys there as well. I think you'll agree are super super awesome. David and Kerry and Lindsay and Shira, and they're awesome.
Yeah,
So
it's
yeah,
wonderful.
it's wonderful. So, but yeah, no, I would definitely recommend anyone who wants to go down. Any actors out, it doesn't matter if you're an actor, anybody in the arts, get out there, get to a CinemaItaliaUK event, and here at the Regent Street or any of them for that matter, because there's an amazing atmosphere, and the guys put on a wonderful event where you can meet and network, as Lorenzo says, with some great people. I mean, I've met so many great people, and a number of jobs and prospects have come out of just meetings, not least yourself and Clara, of course.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's almost 2 years now, or that we met.
I know, right? It's going on 3, would you believe? I Can't
Oh,
believe it.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
it's going
It
on
was
3 now.
September 2018. I got time flies.
Yeah, I think so, right? So what's next for Cinema Italia UK, and also not just what's next, but how is Cinema Italia UK? How are you coping or adapting with the new climate that we're all in? Because just like ourselves, and just like many other arts based things, or we'll keep it to arts.
Yeah.
They tend to be, whether it be film events or a music concert or whatever it is, it tends to be an organization who book an act for music or an actor or whatever it is, and then bring a bunch of people together for an event. Now, obviously, that is the one thing we can't do now with social distancing. So, how is that affecting your business, and how are you adapting your business to cope with the new climate?
Well, at the moment, I mean, our main concern is for the venues with whom we cooperate, because we just want to see them back to thrive, to be open. We just can't wait to have our events again. So from on our side, we are adopting a strategy of resilience. We created a film club, which I'm happy to say, because we managed to create a collaboration with one of our other collaborators, which is Cult Films. Cult Films, they are home video distributors here in London, and they distribute on DVD and on streaming at the moment also some of the great classics of Italian cinema, like the movies of Federico Fellini, like La Dolce Vita and Otto e Mezzo. They have Il Postino by Massimo Troisi. They have some of the movies by Dario Argento, like Suspiria and Opera. So they reprinted them, and for the with amazing edition for the UK market. But at the moment, they have also their movies available on platform like Prime Video UK.
Mm-hmm.
So at the moment, we made this agreement that we are promoting their screenings as we cooperate. We had cooperated in the past, where will still cooperate in the future. So at the moment, Cinema Italia UK is not. We are not distributors, so we cannot screen something directly.
Mm-hmm.
But we managed to have the possibility to screen these classics of Italian cinema. Some of them are comedies, some dramas, some are movies that you heard a lot about them, but you have never seen. And so this is our small film club, like other companies are doing. And we are trying also to see if we can have the possibility to have some exclusive screenings from other distributors, but it takes time. Let's say that at the moment,
Oh, I know.
see, distributors have found themselves with all the projects blown up. Cannes has been cancelled. We don't know. Venice and Rome for the moment are confirmed, but we don't know if it's going to be for sure or not. Some festivals moved online, for instance, like the Turin Film Festival, which is.
Did you hear the news today that the Oscars are now online? The next Oscars is going to be online.
It's going to be online, yes, and they allowed streaming movies.
Yeah.
I mean, to be submitted, which is a great victory, I believe, for Netflix and Prime Video, because if we think about all the fuss that has been made for Roma, or even Beast from, sorry, I forgot the name, the one we did Riselba about a couple of years ago, which was going to
be Selma.
No, it's the one Beast from Other Nation, I think. I don't remember correctly than him now. But basically there was a huge backlash for a movie which was available basically only on streaming to be nominated for an Oscar.
Oh, is that the one, De Niro, Pacino, Pesci, The Irishman?
Yeah, also about The Irishman. There has been
which I still haven't watched yet. 3 hours. Come on, Marty. That's too much.
It's quite long.
Yeah.
The first hour, it's a bit slow, but then when Al Pacino comes on stage, it's amazing.
Yeah, and he celebrated his 80th birthday just day before yesterday. So, happy birthday, Al! What an inspirational actor he is, and a bona fide legend. So that nicely takes us on to some of the films that you guys have done. And now, like I said to you off air before we come on, my Italian is rocky at best. Reading and pronunciation, I'm not even going to attempt it. So we're going to get through the first three here. These are movies that you guys had screened as part of your screening project program that has that's already been complete, and then there's three or four others that are in process that are about to be screened and probably would have at this point had Corona not dropped a bomb on our heads. But anyway, let's get to the first one. It's El Campino.
El Campione.
There we go. That's what I said. Sure, I just said the same thing.
Actually, the last screening we did at Regent Street Cinema in February, and it's a delightful comedy about this spoiled football star who starts a friendship with a disillusioned teacher who doesn't know anything about football. So it's a sort of goodwill hunting set a bit in the world of football with the participation of the real football team from AS Roma. And it's an amazing comedy, really funny, which has received a lot of awards. And we loved it also because it's a story about two very different people who managed to go beyond the difference and the prejudice that they have for each other and learn the one from the other. It's a great feel-good movie, very well written, with two great actors. Stefano Accorsi is one of the most established actors in Italy and France as well. He is having a great career in France as well. And Andrea Carpenzano, the other actor, is one of our emerging stars and is really a very talented actor of whom we screened many movies. But here is this is a great performance of him as this really unapologetic football star who believes that the world is at his feet and period. So we really loved to screen this movie, and there was a great impact on our audience. So it has been a great experience.
That sounds amazing.
And we really wish to repeat it very soon.
That sounds amazing. Okay, that's great. Let's get on. And then the next one is this one here, La Stofia del... You can take that away. There we go.
Which is The Stuff of Dreams, and this is a movie that we really love. This is one of our much more loved movies in all our history. It's really a gem because it's a movie which has been very unfortunate in terms of distribution, but he managed really to show him itself a very strong resilience because he went on winning the most important award in Italy for the screenplay, and then with a huge work of word of mouth, he managed really to be seen and he became really it's a hidden gem of the cinema, and in my opinion one of the best movies of the decade so far, really, generally speaking. It's a story that can appeal a lot also in Britain because it talks about Shakespeare, because it's basically The Tempest set in Sardinia. The director is a very great friend of CinemaItaliaUK. His name is Gianfranco Caviddu. He's a director and musician. He's an amazing person that we had as a guest in many opportunities. And with this movie, basically creates this great love letter to the theater, retelling the story of the Tempest and creating this island, which is a real island of Sardinia, the Asinara, where there was this prison, a sort of Italian Alcatraz, we may say.
Mm-hmm.
And they are waiting for these people from the mafia to be transported, but their boat has a shipwreck. So basically they are stranded on a beach, these criminals and a group of actors who had embarked by chance on the boat. So basically the criminals tells the actor, we pretend to be part of your company, so I mean they won't get us. But the director of the prison suspects something like that, so decides to have them play The Tempest just for them. So it's this incredible work of the story and of meta theatrical approach in which they retell the story, which has become also part of their lives. It's beautiful because it really shows such a love for theater, and I'm happy. And it was a great success here too. He has been presented also in other festivals here in the UK, and also because it's about something that is a national treasure like William Shakespeare, but also it re-reedits with a very Italian approach, with putting the tradition of Sardinia, which is an island, but is also a culture on our own. We screened many movies about Sardinia, and I tell you, the approach of people is huge when they come here to see, and it's really a beautiful story that we are happy to have brought, and wish really the best, because it's a masterpiece in my opinion.
It sounds absolutely fantastic. I'm curious myself. First of all, so far, anyway, at least the last two we've spoke about, are they in Italian and or are they is it Italian or mixed or English or what's going on?
They are in Italian with English subtitles.
And have these films been distributed yet? I mean, if somebody was to say, "Oh, I want to get that film, I want to watch it," or if someone in, say, my own position, I want to get that film for, say, festival or potential festival, or if there's any festival programmers out there that's listening and think, you know what, that sounds like it could be right up our street for the festival that we run, wherever in the world that might be. How would one get in contact, or is that a possibility? Maybe they already have distribution in place, and that's no longer a possibility.
Well, some Italian movie. I mean, the movies which I show you now are all available. I mean, there is not an international distributors for neither of them. Sometimes the biggest buyers for foreign markets usually are from France or Germany concerning Italy, so they get the rights from abroad. We basically see ourselves as a lot of filter, because we screen the movie and we invited distributors to see them, and in some cases this brought to an acquisition from UK distributors for Italian movies. So it's we just a further stage of. We are not a festival, but we try also to give this opportunity to Italian filmmakers to be discovered abroad, and maybe make a deal, sorry, that however it wouldn't happen, maybe because sometimes you know how it works at festivals. You add 10, 12, 15 screening a day, you go from one side to the other, you never watch everything. Here you have the possibility to see a film which is not distributed yet in the UK, because let's say that 95% of the time we present movies that don't have a distribution. So you can say, I'm gonna come, enjoy that movie, focus on that. I don't have to run away to another blog to watch another movies. Not coming from two more viewings like it happens at festival. So yes, we gave the possibility also to enjoy the movie and its values, its history, and so yes, it's a service also for distribution.
Absolutely, and that nicely brings us on to our next one, which is this one right here, which I love the poster for, by the way. That's super good. Again, not going to even attempt to pronounce that. Ombre, I know that's the last word.
This is another movie that we loved, and I chose it also because it's from a great female director. Her name is Valentina Pedicini, and the movie is Dove cadono le ombre, which means Where Shadows Fall. It's a great story because it's a mix of drama, gothic story. It's about this genocide that basically happened in Switzerland through mental institution about this nomadic population. And it's a terrible fact that has been kept hidden for decades, and she found documents. She went through a great work of reconstruction, also with the help of a poetess belonging to this community, and who talked in her works about her own experience in mental asylum. And so it's a beautiful story, because it's this woman trying to reconnect with her own past, working in this care home for old people, where at this point arrives this old woman, and the old woman used to run that place years and years ago, and she was the one in charge of having these children separated from their families and grown up independently, trying to eradicate their origins from their past. And it's a beautiful story because it's a drama filmed amazingly with a great direction of photography.
It
And
looks amazing.
it's a true story that no one spoke about, and we were happy to welcome it also because, I mean, it's something that has been discussed a lot, that, for instance, in many cases, female directors are being go a bit undersighted compared to male
Absolutely.
directors.
They've been
When
underexposed.
I was very curious by the story which told, and I saw some of the pictures, so it was a kind of imagery that really usually fascinates me when you talk me about gothic stories and hidden dramas. I love history a lot, so you get my attention already for 80%. When I watched the movie, I say, oh my god, we must have it. We really must have it. And we're glad to created it, to discover the story of also the director and the amazing effort she made to bring out this story. And if I have to say, this is a bit of a personal memory. I remember when we met and we had to screen the movie, that she told us, you can't imagine how much what you're doing means for us directors. It's something that really, I don't know, I felt a bit that because, I mean, we love cinema like you do, like the people watching it us do. But, I mean, I like to speak about cinema. I've always been involved in movie promotion, even in my past, in different ways. And that emotion really let me think that we're doing something, and it's true, because there is so much effort in preparing a movie,
Oh my
in
God.
finding the idea, in writing it, in filming it, finding the money, and maybe you push it out to the world, you distribute it, and nobody watches it sometimes.
That's the thing, right? You know, and I know, and most probably the people listening know that to make a movie, when you see a movie in a cinema, right? Let me just give you a little bit of context here, people. When you see a movie in a cinema, it is a bona fide goddamn miracle that it's there, because 95% of the 100% of movies that get attempted to be made don't get made. And the 5% that do get made, 5% of that make it to the cinema. So you're talking 5% of 5% that make it to the movie theater. And people always say as well, oh, your movie's in the movie theater, it's in the cinema. Okay, it's a successful thing then. If it's not in the theater, i.e. if it doesn't get distribution, it's not. But now, in today's age, of course, there's an abundance of ways to distribute your film. There's the movie theaters, and quite honestly, I think the traditional movie theater setup is becoming a bit of a caveman type of a way to do things. It's not. I mean, it's great. Don't get me wrong. I'm still attempting and pursuing theatrical release for some of her projects, but there's a number of more dynamic ways to do it now. Whether it be the VOD platforms, and there's a million and one of them. By the way, it's not just the big powerhouse ones. There's a million and one. But yeah, no, it's really, really difficult to make a film, and you know, it takes a lot of effort and years, believe it or not, for the producer and the director. They're going to be on this thing for years. So and then when you finally make your movie, and here's the thing, right? When you are making a movie with Sony Pictures and you've got $250 million, great. Whoop-de-doo. But most of us don't have that. So you make the film, you do the very best you can with the very limited budget you've got. You've got a number of people's suits usually telling you, you can't spend this, you can't have that, you can't have this, you must have that, etc., etc. And then you've pulled out whatever couple of hairs you've got, and you finally got your movie to a release. And then after maybe 2 years, 3 years, 10 years, I mean, this will give you a bit of context. Ryan Reynolds, who is a massive movie star, it took him 10 years to convince Fox to make Deadpool. Now, obviously, we now know that that's a massive hit and we all loved it. But if it takes him 10 years to convince Fox to make Deadpool, then what chance have the rest of us got? But my point is this: you finally get your movie made. It takes you whatever length of time it takes you and whatever effort, and then you put it out there, and somebody sitting in their boxer shorts with a can of beer will go, nah, that's crap. And they have no clue what they're talking about, but their opinion matters. Because if 10 or 15 people come out, or whatever, 10 or 15 is too many, or not enough, should I say, but the public come out and go, nah, I didn't like that, that's crap, that's a bad movie, then that's it, you're done, you're beat. And you have experts putting out stuff, and then people who don't know what they're talking about reviewing it. Because everyone's a critic. Everybody's a critic behind a keyboard, so it takes a lot of effort. And on that, I want to jump into the questions here really quickly. Before we move on, I got a question from Annalisa, who's from Rome, but she's here in London. And she says, I've made a film. It's a short, and it's in Italian. How would you suggest that I bring that to a British market and get it screened at the very least here in London? Or anywhere, for that matter of fact, or get it into the festival circuit?
Well, great. Congratulations, Lisa, first, because every time that someone manage to create something, it's amazing. Well, that would be important to know. I mean, English subtitles are the first step, absolutely, because I can tell that the first thing. But there are so many competitions. If I may suggest one, and you know them too, Jazz, on Shorts on Tap.
Absolutely.
Great idea.
I was just going to mention them, Federico and
Exactly.
Filippo, is it?
Yeah. Michele and Filippo.
Michele and
Yes, they do an
Filippo, that's it.
amazing job.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, yes, and Elisa, if I may say, Shorts on Tap. You can Google them, but they are all on any platform, Facebook, Instagram. They have monthly events. I mean, they will go back to have monthly events like all of us, in which they present short movies from over the world. So they have Italian movies, English movies. They have a section even dedicated to Far East movies. So they have a very great amount of people coming to see them. Also, they have also a section dedicated to female directors. So it's amazing, really. I warmly suggest to contact them and to submit your project to them. And
totally agree.
Yes, they are really doing a great job, and they're based here in London, so it's an amazing opportunity to get in. And even there, they have networking events with a lot of people attending. So, if I may say, I know them personally. I trust their job.
Mm-hmm.
And we cooperated a lot with them too. So, if I may say, Shorts on Tap may be really a great first step if you want to have a look. Then there are many competitions really coming out from every institution. What we have to, all of us, has to do now is just really being informed. We must really be on top of the wave every single second, because you don't know what's going to happen.
What I want to say as well about Shorts on Tap is again, I totally agree with you. I've known the guys for a couple of years now, and they're wonderful. Not only are they someone like Annalisa who's commenting in to get your film out there, they guys could certainly assist with that, but also specifically for Italian filmmakers, whatever respect that is, whether it's camera person, actor, producer, writer, whatever. Michela and Filippo are both Italians. They came here and they've been here in London for 12 or something years. They've set up Shorts on Tap a long time ago, and they know what they're doing. They're very well versed, and they've been here for a long time. So yes, there is sending them your project will maybe, if they're into it, they can help you get that out there. But also, what's really important is they are so well connected. For an Italian filmmaker, they could be a support system, a support network, and they could assist you to help you. And even if you just have questions for them, and maybe you've just came from Italy, you don't know London yet, you don't know where to go, who to speak to, what to do, they would be a very good first step for sure. And then tell them what you're about. And then if they're into it and so on, they could be willing to help, and it'd be a very good support system. So yeah, definitely agree on reaching out to them as Shorts on Tap. Okay, cool. Let's move on to the next film, which I believe. Let me see. 1, 2, 3. Is it this one? Nope. Just on that one. There we go. So this one doesn't have a title, so maybe you can.
Oh, I just sent you the picture. Yes.
Yeah.
Villette con ospiti. Because I couldn't find a proper poster picture.
This guy in the middle, though, he looks super familiar. The guy with the glasses. Who should I know him?
Giallini is one of the greatest Italian actors. You have seen him. Did you watch Perfetti Sconosciuti?
Yes.
Yes, he was the leading actor in
I knew I recognized him. He's done some English work as well, English-speaking work, American, British, whatever. I've definitely seen him before in some, non-Italian work, essentially. And he's wonderful, really good. This looks good. I like the concept of this. I like the idea of this whole. I don't know. Obviously, I don't get very much from the picture, but yeah, tell us about it.
Well, yes. I mean, the picture is quite explains a lot because it's set in the living room of this villetta, which is the classical high middle class house in Italy. You have with a ground floor and an upper floor with all the rooms. And so basically it's the story about this small community in this town in northern Italy, and apparently everybody's happy. They all have their activities, those who do charities, they're enjoying regular life, but there is so much anger and frustration was going really slightly behind their lives that at some point something happens and everything explodes really. And let's say that the living room of this house, which is where Marco Giallini and his wife, played by the woman sitting just behind him, which is was Michela Cescon, one of our best Italian actress, is the set of this let's say drama, which would have been a great stage play as well also. And all the characters end up there and something will happen. Cannot say more because I don't want to spoil.
Of course.
It's a very interesting analysis of the dynamics inside a small community. I mean, it's something which we are very familiar if we think about, I mean, let's go a bit beyond Twin Peaks, an anonymous town, then we have a dead body, and then
David Lynch,
or Peyton Place, the old classic with Lana Turner that our parents and grandparents used to watch. I mean, the small communities, but it's very contemporary about issues with immigration, the various competition inside people, maybe just for nothing, just to be the more brilliant managing the charity, something like that.
So it's quite relevant then in today's climate.
Exactly, yes. It's,
almost, would you say, almost satirical maybe?
Yeah, really. It's
definitely look out for that one.
We loved, and it was going to be our screening in March.
Okay.
And we temporarily postpone it to June now. Fingers crossed that we can reopen somehow, and most of all, Regent Street Cinema can reopen somehow. But it's a movie that we definitely want to show because it tells it tells a very interesting story, and there is a great job of character study of the actors involved.
Wonderful. And that nicely takes us on to our next one. It's Vanya.
Oh yeah, that's a project I really loved.
You know, this poster makes me think of Fargo. When I see this poster, I think Fargo.
Yeah, it's completely different.
William H. Macy.
Yes, it is. This is a documentary, an amazing project by an amazing actor and human being, if I may say, because I had the chance to write to him a lot in these months while planning the event, and it was Vinicio Marchioni. He was also featured in Villetta con Ospiti in a small role. Actually, he's an actor. We screened a lot of movies about him in the last couple of years. He's very popular in Italy, and he's also a great actor and stage director. And so he created this. Last year he did a play about Uncle Vanya by Anton Chekhov, which by chance was also in the West End, in the amazing version with Toby Jones and Richard Armitage. I went to see it. It was amazing.
Love Toby Jones. What an actor.
Yes, he's nominated for the Olivier Award. And also, by an incredible chance, we had this documentary too. So let's say that we were planning a great night also in relation with this thing. And so it's a story not about the play itself, but how the life of Anton Chekhov, his humor. He is here in Russia exploring his life, his house, his writings. And also it tells how he brought the story of this group of people living in this house, which then received these unwelcome guests. It's great stories about resilience. And the great task that Vinicio Marchioni put on the table was creating a connection with the terrible earthquake, which means the title of the movie, Il Terremoto di Vania, the terrible earthquake which hit Italy in 2009 in central Italy, and it wiped away basically the town of L'Aquila. And
wow.
And so you have also interviews with people still living there, even if these towns have been abandoned, rebuilt in other places. But
Wow.
some people decided to not leave their houses, and they still live there, and they describe how difficult it is to live alone in these ghost towns. And so it's very moving because, again, as it was La Stoffa dei Sogni, it's a great act of love to theater. Because I have just to open a thing. I mean, one of the reasons why I moved also to England was the amazing relationship with theater, stage
Oh,
plays,
incredible.
actors that you have here. The scene is really boom. In Italy, unfortunately, for a lot, let's say, theater has been a bit put aside, which is now there is a different approach. Now there is again a new audiences, new theaters, new plays, new actors committing to create new projects. But for a while, really, if you were working on stage, it looks like you were dead, and which was something terrible for me. So again, this story was about taking a big play like Uncle Vanya is a universal masterpiece, retelling it again, opening to new people, to bring a new audience, taking away all the dust. And Vinicio Marchioni did it with such dedication and commitment that I remember I was following on him on Instagram, and it was just in the post production, and I sent him a message via Cinema Italia and told him, once this documentary is ready, you will come to bring, you will come to London to show it with us, and he agreed, and we are. Again, this one is a screening that we cannot make it for the moment, but it won't be lost because it's such an important document about stage play, the relationship with actors and theater and the audience and the story you want to tell, that it's beautiful, beautiful, really.
It
And
sounds
we
amazing.
want to bring it to our audience. We want to give him the tribute that he deserves.
And I'm sure that you will. It sounds amazing. It sounds amazing. As always, of course, and you know this. If we can assist in any way to help you to get these out there, then please just you have my number. Reach out
Yeah.
for sure. Okay, and then that brings us on to the last one, which again, I'm not going to try to attempt this, but this looks great as well. This is Gil. Okay, you can go for that one.
This was a great surprise. This again is a movie that was supposed to be screened in May or June, and we are going to screen it somehow. And this is Gli Uomini d'Oro, and it's an incredible true story of this group of people working for on this van. I mean, in northern Italy, they decide to steal the money that they have to bring from banks or offices back to the postal uh, deposit. They decide to steal this money. It's an incredible plan to have it. They're not crime. They're not criminals. They're just people frustrated with their own issues. They want to have a better life. There is the young man who wants to go to live in the Caribbean. There is the middle-aged man who has done nothing with his life, and he is sick and wants to give a twist to his life. And they create this plan which is perfect, really like a professional criminal could create.
Hmm.
And then they are just betrayed by being their own greed. And it's a true story. It's an incredible true story that really happened in the 90s. And Vincenzo Alfieri, the director, who is a young guy, is 33, 34, so it's very screenwriter, quite an firm screenwriter and a great emerging director, made this movie, which has a great cast because you have Edoardo Leo, you have Gianmarco Tognazzi, which are two very established actors. And there is also a great approach in one of the characters. The guy at the center of the picture, Fabio De Luigi, is a very famous Italian comedian.
Hmm.
And I don't know, have you seen the movie Foxcatcher, the one with Steve
Oh yeah.
Carell and
Oh,
Mark Ruffalo?
absolutely. Mark
Yeah,
Ruffalo. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, he's basically he does the same. So basically, you remember Steve Carell, the 40-year-old virgin, The Office, the funny guy that a bit dumb, and which was basically played in his previous movies or
Hmm.
TV sketches. And here is a man in his 50s, disappointed by his life. really horrible figure. Like he makes the same transformation which made Carell in Foxcatcher from
Wow.
a funny dumb guy to a mask of
Yeah.
frustration that is really available to do something to change his life. So really, to everybody who's a fan of him and is very popular in Italy,
Hmm.
I really watch this movie because he's gonna be surprised how a great screenplay and direction transformed him. And actually, this was an intuition by the director because they told me that the producers were oriented on a more typecastable actor, and they say, no, I want him. I want to see how it works on him.
It
It's
sounds
very
amazing, and
nice,
actually, it
yes.
sounds a little, well, not a little, but it sounds like a movie I did last year. Yeah, last year. The new Guy Ritchie picture called Cash Truck with Jason Statham and Scott Eastwick and so on. Yeah, it sounds amazing, but I can't believe it. But we're over the hour. Would you believe already? So for anyone out there who wants to know, and also we got another question as well from Martina, who's asking how can we get in contact with you. Well, that was going to be my question. So how can people get in contact with Cinema Italia UK, and if they want to send you guys something, they think, you know what, I have this, I have something, I have a script, I have a picture, I have a complete film, short, feature, or whatever. I want to get it to you guys and then see what you think and see how you can assist and if you're willing to, of course.
Okay, well, it's quite easy to get in touch with us. We have our social media channels, we have Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, but we have also a website. So it's you can Google CinemaItaliaUK UK. We have our website with our contacts and emails. It's possible to contact. I have to say something. I mean, it happened in the past that people, uh, writers or actors, contacts us for projects. We unfortunately we wish would have we could we cannot give any kind of personal help in the term because we are not producers, we are not
Sure.
distributors. We can try, we can give advice, let's say, or we can, as we did before. I mean, we can know someone to contact, but we are open to give a help, to listen, and to put in contact maybe with other people. This is something I really need to say because I
Hmm.
understand how difficult it is to look for help in terms of finance. And people say, "Would you help us to finance this project?" Unfortunately, we can't. We are a charity. We really just
Sure.
use our economic force to finance the following projects.
Yeah.
And I really hope we evolve so much to become our own distribution power force.
Hmm.
But yes, I mean, as I say, there is no problem. There is always someone, or me, or Clara, or someone checking the emails. So we are happy to give advice, as I say at first, or
Awesome.
suggestions. But we are more. I mean, mm, there is always room for to listen for us. We are really happy to help if we can.
Excellent. Well, of course, I will put all the links and the social media handles and website links and so forth that you just talked about. That'll be in the description box below. And again, as I say, we are going to launch the first half of season one of the podcast here on May 4th at 2 p.m. GMT, so that's UK time. And then from there, so if you didn't catch the live stream, so i.e. this, you will be able to watch back all the videos, at least for the first half, on May 4th. And then the subsequent audio versions will be on all the different platforms as you see on the screen, iTunes and TuneIn and Spotify and all those things. Lorenzo, buddy, it's been an absolute pleasure. I can't
And
believe
for
it's
me,
it's it's over an hour already. If there's anyone else out there who wants to get in contact, as I said, you can do so via the links below. And please don't forget that while as Lorenzo mentioned, he and his team are not financiers and will not be able to assist you in that way. At least not providing the finance. There is a means and a way to finance a film. So although they don't do that, they will be able to tell you maybe or point you in the right direction of people who do that, and then you can you can head down that very weary path.
yeah,
Guys, it's been a pleasure. Lorenzo, thank you so
yeah,
much for coming
me too.
on,
Thank you,
and
Jasper.
yeah, we'll catch you in the on the next one.
Yeah, hopefully at some point even personally.
Oh, absolutely.
Thanks again
Absolutely.
for this amazing idea, and
you're very, very welcome. Thank you for coming on. Guys, it's been a pleasure. For everyone watching, thank you so much for watching. And as I said, May 4th, we will be launching the first half. Until next time, I'll see you again tomorrow at 2 when I'll be talking to the director, the very lovely Adam Morse. Till then, bye.
Don't forget to subscribe to The Hub for the latest episodes. You can find us on all your favorite podcast platforms and media. The Hub, your weekly fix of all things film and television, and some other stuff. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Jason Mathewson.